Fallen Dominion Studios has a title that's on my radar, and I think it deserves to be on yours as well. Fallen Land, a post-apocalyptic board game, 2nd edition. This is good for 1 to 6 players, ages 14 and up, and should take you 120 to 300 minutes to play. Can you survive the aftermath of a nuclear and biological apocalypse? You are the leader of a faction of survivors competing against others for primacy. Assemble and equip your party, then set out to explore the wastes, claim resources, and actualize your agenda. Build and manage your town to protect your citizens and resources. Make and break treaties to navigate your way through the minefield of bribery, betrayal, and hubris of the other players. Fallen Land is set in the ruinous aftermath of a post-apocalyptic America and is a thematic board game for 1 to 6 players. Featuring sandbox-style gameplay, it combines the element of strategy board game with card building and role-playing. Driven by macabre stories of a world gone mad, players must adapt to the ever-changing variables, the cards, stories, interactions, and other threats. The 2nd edition contains 757 cards compared to the 540 in the 1st edition. The map now includes parts of Canada and Mexico. It also contains expansions that were previously released separately: Fallen Land, A Journey into Darkness, and Fallen Land, Outriders Trading Post. Wow, that sounds like such a great build-up. Now, this is coming, remember, from someone that already has and loves the 1st edition of the game. In fact, if I haven't said it enough, and I don't think I really have because the subject hasn't come up often enough, but I am not really a 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th edition kind of guy. A lot of times it seems like nothing more than a money grab to me. Some cases it is, maybe not all, but yeah, it does happen. Sometimes there's nothing more than a cheap money grab. But not this. I don't feel that way about this at all. I have been embracing the concept and the idea of a 2nd edition of this game since I first heard about it. Now, as the description said, it is a sandbox-style game, and that's one of the things that originally drew me to this game, is that I love sandbox-style gaming. This sort of open world, or at least as I understand, some people don't like the term sandbox game for a board game, and I understand that because it may not be everything. You know, you're still limited to the board, but the amount of things that you can do, the choices that you have in order to reach a winning condition, when there are so many different choices and that you're able to pretty much go anywhere on the board and do whatever you're capable of doing to get these victory points. I love that style of gaming. And, I really got to say that in my honest opinion, this is definitely one of the top 2, 3, 2, probably top 2 sandbox games I've ever enjoyed playing. But besides being a wonderful sandbox style game, the whole sort of this beautiful triangulation, I guess if you will, of combining the concepts of a strategy board game, basic card building, and then a little bit of that RPG feel on top of that, because although there isn't a lot of interaction with NPCs that you can get into a lot of RPGing with, really getting into the role of everything, you can very easily do that with the other players. And the advancement of the characters through their skills and their talents totally is a callback to good old style classic RPG. So that's why I call this beautiful triangulation of these 3 concepts of gaming that they got working perfectly in this system. I also love the idea that you're like the leader, the mayor of a town. You yourself aren't actually out in the field at all. There's no representation of you. I like that. You are sending out a party. You are in control of a party of 5 and their vehicles and their equipment. I like that. I don't know if it's just because this kind of just sitting there giving orders kind of thing or what, but I'm definitely digging that whole thematic mindset in this game. Now, the stories that evolve, the adventures that you are going on, the missions, the quests outside of your town. I love the stories that these cards are painting. Some of them are a little silly and lighthearted, and I enjoy that, but most of them are really serious, and some of them are a little dark on the macabre side. And it all mixes in really well. It's not overly one or the other. And it's like a perfectly blended stew. Now, the original game, I thought, had tons of replayability as it was, for the fact that you can choose one of 10 different towns that you are playing, and they each have their own abilities, skills going on during the game. While on the other hand, originally with over 500 cards, wow! But now they've upped that even more with almost 800. Over 750 cards now to be able to tell stories that are not going to be repeated. And that replayability is going to add on to this feeling of this ongoing, living, breathing world that you're sending teams out on missions on. And that's awesome. Come on. There's something else about this game that I like. I like the way the turns work. Because during the game, you have all the things that you can do at town, trading, buying, things like that. When it comes to the quests, the adventures, the missions that you're going on, you have 4 weeks. It's given to you in time. I like that. You have 4 weeks to accomplish things, and different things that you do as far as traveling and moving goes, as far as exploration of sites or looking for relics, things like that are all going to take different amounts of time. Something might take a week, something might take 2 or 3 weeks. But on top of this, you can also buy against yourself. Because sometimes maybe you do 1 or 2 things and you have like 1 week left, and you're like, oh, what I want to do is going to take 2 weeks. Well, you know what? You can borrow against what's coming up next. So, of course, that means next turn, you better have shit planned out nice and tight, because you're only going to get those 3 weeks. But for right now, you got 5 weeks. I like the way that works. Now, one of the reasons actually probably the primary reason that I don't get this game to the table and on camera more, like I would love to show this game off more, is that I don't always have a lot of time to set it up. It is a fairly big set, and I'm sorry about kvetching about that. I'm not trying to just sit here and bitch and moan and kvetch about this. Not at all. I am just simply stating a fact that it does take a while to set up, get it out of the box, get everything going on the game board. And so because of that, sometimes it just falls off my immediate radar to play. Even on days that I've planned on playing it, things will happen during the day, and then I just don't got time to sit through all that and do all that. But this new second edition is going to cut that by half, or 3/4 of that time it's going to cut out, because it has these beautifully set up tray boxes. And these trays have everything right where you need them. You don't got to worry about separating tokens out from this bag and that bag. Cards are set up beautifully. It's going to be so easy to get the second edition out of the box and onto the table. I'm loving that. And, also it's nice that they've updated the 2 expansions and included that in the new second edition base set, making that available. That's really cool. And it has its own new expansion, Descendants, to add into that. And that has a nice little box that it comes with, a sleeve box, which looks pretty cool. And I believe I also did see, yes, that there was a tray set up in that too. So kudos. All right. So altogether, everything comes together and clicks for me on this game. It's a sandbox game. It's got some adventuring in it. It's got some strategy, some RPG, some deck building, character building, and it's accessible. It's so accessible now with all these trays. everything. It just hits mark after mark after mark. If you were in a bar playing darts, you wouldn't be able to beat this guy, because there's going to be one bullseye after the other. All right, so please, this game is going to be out in a couple of months, and I just wanted to make sure that everyone's appetite is wet about this, so to speak. I'm not sure about the exact drop date on this. It's going to be September, maybe October, but it's not very long. It's not very far away at all. So look it up, make a note of it, put an alert on your phone, and remember to go check out and maybe even get for your table and your group Fallen Land, Post-Apocalyptic board game, 2nd edition by Fallen Dominion Studios.